And welcome back, everybody, to Self-Care Summer Episode 9. The last 2 months, we spent some time going through mental wellness and physical wellness, and it's been quite the journey so far. But today, we're going to switch gears and work on our financial wellness, which is ultra important, and it always leads back to our mental wellness and physical as well. And I've done my best to put on a Don Johnson outfit today for our guest coming on. And this guy I've known for at least 15 years. And I remember the first time he called me, and he called. And finally I picked up the phone and answered. And wow, it started a journey of not only business, but a friendship along the way. Kevin Cochran has helped build up 2 multi-million-dollar businesses over the last 15 years. But he found himself about 20 years ago in about $20,000 of credit card debt. And he looked in the mirror and said, there's something I have to do about this. There's a better way. And from that came a simple idea. And he's here today to talk about Enriched Academy, but all the things that you can do, whether you're in the mortgage business or you have a friend or a family and you're joining us today, or you're watching this as a replay. Kevin's got some excellent ideas. They have an awesome website. Kevin's been on the Dragon's Den. He's impressed them, and they bought into his idea. And Kevin Cochran, welcome today, buddy. Nice to see you.
Nice seeing you, pal. Always happy to just reconnect with you. I know that our lives are busy. We have young children on both sides, and it's just great that we had the chance to do this. So thanks for inviting me as a guest. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. The show is yours. It's all yours.
Great. Well, I just want to welcome everybody here today. Very, very excited to talk about something that I think is really, really important when you take a look at, wellness, as Kevin has mentioned. Hey, Nancy, nice seeing you too. As Trevor alluded to, is that, you take a look at, from a wellness standpoint and what's going on in the world right now. I look at COVID, being the number one thing everybody's talking about, and it's endlessly on the news. We hear about it all the time. It's COVID. But the second thing that, I believe people are going to start thinking about is money and debt, because, we did suffer a lot of job losses, and I know that the governments have printed endless amounts of money, but eventually what's going to happen, I'm telling you, whether it's this year or next year, eventually people are going to stop talking about COVID, but we're going to start talking more about debt and job losses and, kind of the hangover of what all has transpired over the last year and a half, because really we did shut down economies for quite a long time. And, eventually, we're going to have to, start paying back the money that was printed. That's just the way it works, right? So, very, very excited. And I think that, obviously with Dominion Lending Centers, we have provided Enriched Academy for each Dominion Lending Center agent. I'm going to show you that at the very end, actually maybe more in the beginning, but, I look at the importance of teaching money management. It's just critical. And my experience working with Dominion for such a long time, and you look at mortgage agents, what a great industry that you're in. You're helping people. You're providing, in most cases, better rates than the bank can. You're not charging. The bank pays you, which is phenomenal. But the challenge is you see that a lot of mortgage agents have this phenomenal industry where with a few months education, you can almost make more money than a doctor. But still, a lot of them, just like any other profession, not just mortgage professionals, but, you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s with no end in sight, with the ability to retire. And that's frustrating, right? I see that with mortgage agents, but believe it or not, we work with NHL players now. We've been working with doctors, lawyers, plumbers, electricians, nurses, entrepreneurs. And what I find interesting is that no matter which path we take, there's an immense amount of education that teaches us how to make money, because that's why you go to school. You go to school to learn how to earn an income. It's because you develop skills at school, and then people pay you for those skills because you put those skills on a resume. But then you get a job, and then you work your butt off on the job, and then you might get promoted and make a little bit more money, which is great. But we spend thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of hours learning how to make money, but we never learn how to manage it, right? And, you see mortgage agents that live on commission advance, you're behind on their taxes, and that's frustrating, right? Because I look at it and I say that I love the mortgage brokerage world. If you do it properly, if you ask me, I think if you put a strong 10 years in, you can create a foundation to retire very comfortably. And I'm not saying you're going to be in a private jet or anything like that, but I mean where you shouldn't have to worry about money. But what I see, again, whether it's mortgage agents or any other industry or any other profession, is that you see people in their 40s, 50s, 60s going, man, you know what? Where does this end? I've been doing what I do now for 10 years, 15 years. And if I don't earn my next paycheck, half of Canadians live paycheck to paycheck. And that's a frustrating thing for a lot of people, right? Because you look at it, they go, man, if I don't go to work tomorrow, I can't pay my bills. And that's crazy, because when you're earlier, in your 20s and 30s, mid 30s, up to your mid 30s, you got a lot of piss and vinegar, you got all this energy. But once you reach your mid 30s, you want to start building a family, spend more time with the kids and so forth. But all of a sudden you have this nagging thing behind you, like pushing. Like, I got to earn an income or I can't put, food on the table. And I look at it and I say, we need to put an end to this, because, the one thing I found interesting, and no matter what career path, because Enrich Academy, for those of you who don't know, like, we're by far now the name in Canada that governments, companies, corporations use to teach about money management. Just to give you an idea that, we work with school board. The Toronto District School Board now uses our education. I believe now 5 or 6 of the top 10 school boards in Ontario. Prince Edward Island, smaller province, but they signed a 3-year agreement for having our education in every one of the grade 10 class. Last year, Alberta government tried us with 4,000 students. This year, they've upped it to 150,000 students. Corporations, unions, NHL players. I mean, really, everybody's coming to us now for this education because, one, we don't sell products, financial products, but two, we don't collect that on anybody as well. And I think that's why a lot of people like using us. But as I mentioned earlier, we've had all these different industries attend our events: mortgage brokers, real estate agents, doctors, lawyers, and it doesn't really matter. But what I always find interesting is that I'll meet a mechanic or a plumber that makes $75,000 a year that'll come to one of our live events, or $80,000 a year. And they have a higher net worth than a lawyer sitting in the same room making $200,000 a year. And I always go like, how's that possible? How is it possible that this plumber making $80,000 a year has a higher net worth than this lawyer making $200,000 a year, right? Like, it doesn't make sense. But the plumber doesn't look as wealthy. He drives an old beat up pickup truck, but it's paid off, right? Has 3 homes. It lives in a smaller home, but owns 3 of them because 2 of them are investment properties. And then you look at the lawyer, he drives this beautiful BMW, but it's leased, doesn't own it. Nothing wrong with the lease car, but I'm just kind of doing the comparison here. Has a big home, a massive mortgage. And all of a sudden you start seeing like, well, what is wealth, right? Is it what you look like, or what's in your bank account? And to me, it's what's in your bank account, right? That's the most critical thing out of anything. And so one thing that Dominion Lending Centers has done, which we're very, very excited about, is we've actually provided Enriched Academy for free for every Dominion Lending Center agent. So I'm going to upload my screen here. I'm going to share my screen here. Hold on one second. Share screen. So we will do that. And let me just pull it up here. There we go. Dominion Lending Centers has made an investment, just so you do know, to provide Enriched Academy for every Dominion agent, because the one thing Dominion Lending Centers wants to do is provide you the tools, obviously, to go out there and run an effective business. But we also want you to have a finish line to this business as well, or have the opportunity to have a finish line, right? And so the one way we believe that this can be done is through teaching you, right? And we think this is just a valuable life lesson, that the best part of it is not just for you, but for your family as well, right? And as I said, I had 2 loving parents growing up, and I couldn't ask for anything more, but they taught me what they knew about money, which was nothing, right? And that's why within 2 years of finishing high school, I was over $20,000 in credit card debt. I bought my first car on a credit card. Always joke around that my credit got so bad that someone stole my identity, my credit rating got better, right? That's how bad my credit rating was. And you realize, like, it's like we're just not taught. It's not a fair playing field. And so Enrich Academy has made a substantial investment to make sure that Enrich Academy is provided for every Dominion Lending Center agent and their immediate family that they live with. And so our whole program is a full online curriculum. And this is, again, we have a student version of the program and an adult version of the program. For the adults, again, this is a whole program we're talking about really 3 different buckets. Like, some people that watch our program, they're in debt, and we get that. And just so you know, anybody watching right now, if you're in debt, it's not a problem. Like, I know it's frustrating and you lose night's sleeps, and I've been there myself, and one day you're going to laugh about it. What you want to do is, first of all, realize you're not alone. Half of Canadians live paycheck to paycheck, or they're in debt. But here's what I will say is that what we want to do with this program is that we don't want to make it a life sentence, right? And what I will ask is that if you've been doing whoever's watching this, whatever career path you're taking, if you whatever career path you've been taking, if you've been doing it for over 10 years and you're still paycheck to paycheck or in debt, there's something substantially wrong with how you're managing your money. And it's not usually an income issue, it's a spending issue. As I mentioned, I've met plumbers making $80,000 a year that have a higher net worth than lawyers making $200,000. So our whole program, number one, it'll help you eliminate debt. It's got debt crushing tools. It's got budgeting programs and so forth. So it'll address that group. We also have we know a group of people watching our program are managing our paycheck to paycheck. They're not falling behind, but they're not getting ahead. So we'll address that group as well in this program. And the best funny part is that people think financial literacy is for those people that are broke or paycheck to paycheck, and it's not. Do you know how many people watch our program that have like money and they don't know what their money is doing? I remember we had one lady attend our event a few years back. She had $1 million worth of financial advisor, and she showed me her financial statement at one of our live events. She goes, "Yeah, I got $1 million invested with my advisor." I said, "That's great, awesome." I said, "Let me ask you a question." I go, "What do you pay your advisor?" She goes, I don't think I pay them. I think the bank pays them." I go, "Well, no, that's not true." I said, "You clearly are paying your advisor." I said, "What kind of stock?" She goes, "I don't know." I go, "Could you get out?" She goes, she didn't know any of the answers to any of these questions. And you look at that, I go, that's really, really, really scary, right? Because, by the time we looked at our investments, we realized our fees were atrocious. And, you're going to look at like half our returns are going to be eaten up in fees, right? So if that $1 million grew to 1.6 million, 300,000 of that money would have been eaten up in fees. And that's what we don't understand. So this program talks about how to find the right financial advisor. We have a financial advisor interrogation kit, all that stuff. Again, we're not trying to be your advisor. And that's why people love us. They're like, "Man, you're a perfect middleman between the income I earn and where it's going to go." We're like the middle person. Think about Enrich Academy as like the Rosetta Stone of money, right? Most people get a financial statement and they can't read it. They just throw it in the garbage, right? And that's what money is, a language we use every day and nobody knows how it works. And think about Enrich Academy is the Rosetta Stone of money, right? So all of our tools are unlocked for every DLC agent, which is amazing. If you do want access to the program, all you have to do is go to the backend intranet. You'll see, I don't know if you can see me with my arrow there, but there's an Enrich Academy tab. You click it, and it's going to open up the whole portal for you, and that's for you to use, which is amazing. And again, it's pretty awesome. Like, just the individuals that we're talking to now in the groups, like as I said, the feedback of our program is amazing. The average rating of our program, this is out of 19,757 survey responses, was an average of 9.2 out of 10. We're nearly 70%, 67% of people give our program a 10 out of 10. So we're really excited about that. The majority give an 8+. Well, the majority is 10 out of 10, but again, the overwhelming majority is over 8, which is amazing. For the DLC agents as well, we have a 5-part webinar series we're running this year. We've already done the first one, how to manage debt, credit, and quickly manage, eliminate debt. The next one we're going to be talking about is the roadmap for financial security, talking about where you are financially now, where you want to go. Again, because and it doesn't matter what career path. You want to know why people worry about money? We hear it all the time. I'll have somebody come up to me panicked about money. Like, "I'm freaking out about money, man. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm freaking out." And I go, okay, whoa, calm down. I said, "Let me ask you a question. What's your net worth? Like, what are you worth right now?" "I don't know. I think I'm worth around 35, 50,000, 100, whatever. It's somewhere around there." I'm like, "No, they don't really know where they are. They're like, it's somewhere around there." So you don't really know where you are. I go, "But how much do you want to have in the bank when you retire and what percentage return?" "I don't know what I want. I have no idea." I'm like, "So you don't know really where you are and you don't know where you want to go." I go, "So you want to know where the panic is? It's that. Like, think about a GPS, right? A GPS only works when you put 2 pieces of information. It needs to know exactly where you are, not where you're right. I think I am. They need to know where you are and where you want to go. And then guess what? Your GPS creates a perfect roadmap to estimated time of arrival. You have complete calm. I don't know if anybody's ever been driving somewhere using your Google Maps and it tells you if there's a traffic jam or speed. Like, you got total comfort, estimated time of arrival. It's awesome. As you're driving, you're with your spouse or partner, the exits are coming very slowly because you're listening to your Michael Bolt and you're totally calm, right? But then all of a sudden, is anybody's GPS just like broken down, like you're driving, you lose connection, battery dies out, whatever. And then you don't know where you're going. And all of a sudden now the exits are coming quickly. You're screaming at your wife, like, "What are you doing? Like, is it this exit? Should I go here? Should I do this? Where am I going? Let me work on, I'm fixing it," right? And that panic that I find that people have all gone through, including me, when you're lost in a city because your GPS breaks down, that panic is very similar to very, very similar to struggling about money, right? I find it very identical. Right, you go home, you're arguing with your partner or spouse, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm freaking out. Should we invest in this? Should we do this? Should we do this? I don't know. Take this exit." And then all of a sudden, you don't believe in anything. You start falling for everything, like get rich quick schemes. Maybe just do Bitcoin, cannabis. Like it's crazy, right? What Enrich Academy does is build you a plan from A to Z that is time tested and true. There's no get rich quick here. There's no, invest in this one thing. We don't tell you what to buy in our company, but we make sure what we do is when you do buy something, you know what you're buying. You understand the language behind it. And that's really, really, really important. We talk about how to invest in any stock market, 5 steps to investing in real estate, which are great programs. And then the last webinar series we're going to be running is 8 questions to ask your financial advisor. One of my favorite topics out of them all, because again, I'm a huge believer in financial advisors, but I also am a huge believer that 7 out of 10 financial advisors aren't great. They're salespeople. They're not really, they're not bad people. They're just salespeople. They don't really, not in it to build you a plan. They're in it to sell you a bunch of products that are high fee. So again, really, really excited about this program and where it's going to go. And so what I can do here is I time block for about 15 or 20 minutes, Trevor. So I'll take this off if there's any questions or anything like that, or we can have a quick Q&A back and forth if you'd like.
Yeah, man, it's something that came to mind as you're talking there. And one, thank you for sort of making this available to those that work with Dominion and their families. I think that's absolutely huge.
No problem.
I think the old story was this, you have, a mortgage agent making 100K, but they're spending 150, right? So, and you've seen this firsthand. And so you really want to eliminate that. And so I think the program's amazing. I look at it in such a way that we can utilize it for our customer base, and maybe even more so for our first-time home buyers that are just going through that shock of buying their first home, and especially nowadays with the way the prices have gone. How, in your opinion, how would you position that? And then obviously, like, what is the cost behind that if, say, we wanted to gift it or like a wow thing for one of our clients?
Yeah, we do have a gifted program where you can we brand it to you, where you get 10 licenses. I don't hold me to it. I think it's for DLC, it's $1,000 for 10 or something like that. Again, you get it unfeathered access for you and your family, but you can give us some licenses out. And the cool thing is if you want to do that, you can track and monitor. You can actually do a course with that, the 10 put together. And to me, it's funny because I look at, what do banks do? They try to give away, iPads, and nothing wrong with that, or earbuds to get customers. If you educate somebody on how to save them, oh, look, I'm just taking a look at your investments, and your MERs on your investments are 2%, and just so you know, over the next 20 years, it's going to eat up, $50,000. Like I look at that and go, man, that's how many earbuds is that? How many iPads is that, right? And so I'm a huge believer in education. To build a gift is always great. I'm not anti-gifts. I want to be clear about that. I think you can have a good combination of both, but it's one thing to give a gift. It's another thing where you can change somebody's financial tree forever. I wish somebody had that conversation with me. Because when I was in debt, I got this. This is what I find with a lot of people when it comes to money and debt is I got out of debt, which took me a long time to do when I was younger. And then the first thing you do is you're like, well, now I want to start save. I'm ready to rock. I'm going to take this money I paid off my debt, and I'm going to start saving and investing it. And then you start asking people around you that you perceive that because they are older and at that time are smarter in certain subjects, they must be smarter about money. And so that's what I did. And I invested $150,000 over 5 years with an advisor. And when I cashed out, I ended up with 142. And the reason why is that I didn't understand the math. The person I asked advice from didn't really understand how money worked either. And so when I tried to cash out, I was locked into all these mutual funds. I didn't understand how to feed. And again, if somebody just had a 10-minute conversation, think about it, 10-minute conversation. You know how many hours I had to work to make $150,000? A lot of hours, a lot of missed dinners with families, a lot of flights and planes and all this stuff. And a 10-minute conversation could have changed a 7-year time period or 5-year time period investing that money. So that's the cool thing about Enrich Academy, man. Like the thousands of hours you spend learning how to make this money, this 5-hour course, this small 5-hour course complements the thousands of hours. Complemented.
Kev, I got this question here, and it just sort of relates back to mental wellness because I think, financial does, relate back. And you've now been on both sides of the coin where it's been in debt and then, you've obviously done the right activities to get yourself on the other side of that. Can you sort of, in your experience, talk about, mentally how that was on one side and on the other and how it made you feel during those times? Would you mind?
Yeah, no problem. I would never change the script. That's why I told people that if you're in debt right now, you're going to laugh about it one day. You really will. I would never change the script because right now I'm very cautious. Like I always have this back of your mind, like wounds or this, shrapnel still in my body of debt. And again, I don't ever want to be back there again. So as I said, I would never change the script. It makes me very cautious now of every dollar that I spend and where it goes. And so as I said, if you're in debt right now, I understand it's frustrating. You're probably losing night's sleep, maybe fighting with a partner or spouse. We hear about all this. And it definitely affects people's wellness. It absolutely does. It can't, right? Because you're only human. Think about this. Why are you worrying about money? In a lot of cases, you're out there trying to, if you have a family, you're trying to put food on the table, put a small vacation every year, enough money for education. You want to have a finish line and save money for retirement. There's all these things. So it's just you just constantly just trying to be a responsible person day after day after day. And so that'll wear down on your immune system for sure, right? Just you trying to be a good person, right? And try to be responsible. And so that's why I feel that it's easy that it's not easy, but it's not a bad thing when you feel stressed out about money. I don't want anybody to feel bad about it. But again, I've been on both sides. I wouldn't change the script. It's much better on this end, but I will tell you this. Is that it's funny because as I've built more levels of income, people ask what kind of house you still live in. I live in the same house I lived when I was just trying to get by. I don't overhouse by any means. I look at Warren Buffett, one of the wealthiest people in the world, lives in the same house that he bought in 1957 for $37,000. And I go, man, there's something to that, right? So as I said, the challenge is that we make more income, we buy nicer houses, bigger cars, blah, 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 it never ends. So that's why when people think if I go from $90,000 to $200,000, that'll solve all my money issues. Trevor, I'm sure you've seen, people in this industry as I have, when they double their income, they just double their debt because the foundation is broken. It's like, here's the best analogy. Imagine you go to the gym and I ask you to lift 90 pounds and you can't lift 90 pounds. If you can't lift 90 pounds, you can't lift 200 pounds. We admit that, right? If you can't manage 90,000, I give you my word, you can't manage 200. I mean that. You will end up if 90,000 is stressing you out, 200 will be twice the amount of stress.
You have 100%, right? That's just bang on. So I did have another question and it sort of escaped me and I apologize. I know what it was. So we got somebody listening right now or on the recording. They're in debt or they're thinking like, shit, this could be me. What's the first step? What do you want them to do right now?
So if they're with Dominion Lending Centers, go online and watch this course. Like Dominion's made the investment for you to do this, right? So please make sure to do it. Like there's no hidden agenda. There's not like, well, what are they going to make? What do I have to unlock or pay for? It is unfeathered access. Watch it, right? It's crazy not to, man. Like what are you doing? Like why go out and earn another dollar if you don't know where that money is going? Put a plan together, right? And then outside of DLC, if you have a Dominion Lending Center agent, talk to them. Give them a call. Because believe it or not, like again, Dominion Lending Center agents have a lot of options and tools that can complement what you or help you out for what your needs are. But they have exclusive discounts at enrichacademy2.com that we can provide them, so that you wouldn't get if you just went directly to the site. But it's enrichacademy.com. You can take a look, but talk to your DLC agent. That's the best thing you can do for sure.
Awesome stuff, buddy. It is nice to see you because it's been way too long. And like you said, we have busy lives, but we'll make a point of getting together at some point, maybe a beer. We'll see what happens.
I cannot wait, man. I love you, brother.
Yeah, I love you too, man. I really appreciate it.
Okay.
For those that haven't heard Kevin speak before, anytime he's doing something live, please, get on that because he's a ball of energy, but he's a wealth of knowledge as well. And, he talks from experience as well. And so if you've watched the program, everybody we've had on, they talk from experience. Kevin is not only from experience, but he's also a professional as well, and he's experienced. So, Kevin, thank you so much for spending the time today. I know you have a hard stop. I was conscious of that.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
You are a busy guy. Okay. Yeah, man. We'll see you soon. Thanks so much, everybody. We will see you back next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Self-Care Summer as we continue on with our financial wellness piece. Thank you all. Have a great day. See you next week.
Thanks, guys. Thanks.